Okay, before I start on the second theory, I want to apologize in advance for murdering all these names. I'm going to get probably every single one of them wrong. But anyway, so the second theory is the ZPD, or zone of proximal development. Zoom in here so we can see this. All right. So basically, Lev Vygotsky um, is the one who started with this one, and it's theory. It's the distance between the actual learning that someone could do on their own versus what they can do problem solving with a guide, a peer, or an adult helping them that's more capable than they are. So in the reading, it talked about a lady doing the tennis. I'm going to relate it to sport I'm currently doing, jiu-jitsu. So there was a move I was doing as I was sparring with someone. It was a arm triangle choke. And as I was attempting the arm triangle choke, I wasn't quite successful with it. So one of the black belts, who happened to be the same teacher I interviewed for the teaching questions, Rudy. So Professor Rudy noticed that I wasn't able to, that I wasn't successfully getting the triangle choke. So he came over and he pointed out a couple of things. And so first of all, he showed me what I was doing wrong, how I was doing it. I was actually coming down as I had the person on the ground. I would come down from a top angle, putting all my weight and down on them, using more force and trying to muscle the choke rather than using leverage. So he showed me the proper way of being able to do the move, and then he related it to a move that I was already successful at completing, which was a more of a north-south choke where I'm on top of the guy, choking him from a position at the head. So anyway, he showed me that if I laid closer to the ground instead of coming down at an angle in the air, that if I brought myself down and scooted up with him, it first of all, it naturally took out more space in between my arms, which is what creates the choke a lot easier, and it gave me a better leverage and angle. So it used substantially less strength. And almost instantaneously, as I applied what he learned, at each of the steps, my partner would submit or tap. And so I practiced this a couple times with him until I got it down pretty solid. And then after he left, we would continue rolling and training. And then when I would end up in that position again, I would do it. And I found that I was not nearly as successful as when he was there showing me. So I didn't get someone to tap instantly, but I was still getting to tap where previously I was not able to. So that was a great example for the scaffold learning and going through that. Let's see if I can now move this over here. Okay, so Vygotsky viewed the interaction with peers as an effective way of a child's development. So basically cooperative learning with taking someone who's less competent and pairing them with someone that's more competent. I like to think that's probably why I got paired with Hunter. Hunter, she's currently a teacher. And so she has a little bit more skill and understanding of teacher of a lot of these already, where I have no experience, so I do not have that good of understanding. So hey, great. And it gives them a boost. They will learn more with being paired with a teacher or someone with more knowledge but then there's a natural regression as that instructor or peer leaves. Then we go back to where we're better than they were before, learning by themselves, but not as great as they would have been, or as they were being able to complete it. Like with me, I wasn't able to complete the choke as good. With Rudy there showing it, but I was still able to complete it better than what I was figuring out on my own. So they pointed out that we have cultural tools that exist to help us as well. We're fortunate to live in an age where, we do have teachers, but we don't necessarily rely on teachers. We have television, we have internet, we have ebooks, textbooks, YouTube, all sorts of cultural tools that are available. to us to help make everything better. So now Wood was another psychologist that that elaborated on this, and he used the term scaffolding to describe what was going on with the different elements. So basically, the master would come and implement scaffold to help build the capabilities of the other person, and then there we go. I'm having trouble moving this to build the capabilities of the lesser capable person, and then when they would remove the scaffold, then that person can still achieve what they wanted to, not as great, but even again more. So the process of aid effective scaffolding was, so gaining and maintaining the learner's interest. Rudy was able to show me how an effective choke was done, which really piqued my interest because it looked way better than what I was doing. He broke the task down simply, step by step, get lower to the ground, come at more of a perpendicular angle, and then controlling the level of frustration, having me practice it until he noticed if I was getting frustrated, demonstrate the task. Again, he demonstrated how it was properly supposed to be done, and then emphasized on the important parts of the task to receive the correct results. Let's see, this really drives me crazy. Okay, so Wood and Middleton scaffold study. They took 4-year-old children and they gave them blocks and asked them to create a 3D model. And they were, and let's see, so a 3D model that was a little too complicated for them to achieve. They allowed the mothers to help them, and the mothers were able to basically use scaffolding and to give them support, encouragement, instructions, and directions. The study showed that not a single strategy was best, but really what it was being able to adapt it to the kid, whatever they were struggling at. Again, Rudy was able to adapt the choke to a choke that he already knew that I can successfully complete. He was able to relate it to that lesson, so I understood the concepts a little bit better, and that really is what gives the effective assistance, is being able to relate to the individual child. Scaffolding is most effective when supporter matches it needs to launch. Yes, so see, so Freund, however you pronounce that, wanted to study Piaget's concepts and versus the ZPD. So she used a dollhouse study. So basically, children between 3 and 5 were asked to help a puppet place furniture in a room of a dollhouse. And first she got a baseline of their already understanding of doing that. And then they were asked to place the furniture, and they split them into different groups. There was children that could either work alone and use the discovery method from Piaget, or their mothers can help them and give them the guided learning. And so the study showed that the children assisted by their mothers performed better than the discovery learning. Really what I'm interested in is I would have liked to see how it compared. I think it's probably more effective when you combine it both. That's usually how we train with jiu-jitsu. We're given kind of that assisted learning where we get quick instructions, maybe 10-15 minutes on how to do something, and then we split up into groups and we just train and we implement and we discover and we see how it is, and then later on somebody will catch us just adding stuff here. Now this is getting ridiculous. Sorry for my inabilities to record stuff. Anyway, but dang it. And then we would come back. So we have discovery time, and then cooperative learning with a peer or with a professor. So educational applications. So the teacher's role is to help share what they learn and pass it on to the child through social interactions. There's a couple ways of doing that. Scaffolding, again, is a great method of being able to do that. The book pointed out, or the reading pointed out, that again, first we must have like the dollhouse. We have to assess and see where their abilities are currently at as they come into the lesson, what their experience is, and then we need to be able to relate the content to the student and with their current abilities and skills, and then also break the task into small manageable pieces, much like Rudy did with me. Break it down, simplify it as easy as possible, and then use the verbal cues and prompts to be able to assist them. Let's see. And then another way is reciprocal teaching is more of a contemporary application for improving the student's abilities of being able to applicate or implement the scaffolding. So basically, you teach the students, and then the students teach the other students as well. We learn when we teach. So you can do it in a couple of different ways. So first of all, you teach them how to summarize what they think they're going to learn, or summarize or predict what they were going to learn. Sorry, that would be my first one. So you teach them how to predict what they think they're going to learn, how to summarize the key concepts briefly and efficiently, how to question during the reading, write down questions or develop questions of things they don't understand, or maybe things they'd like to get better, and then clarifying. For example, I didn't understand really any of this, and the reading wasn't very specific, so I had to clarify by going on and doing a little bit more research to understand it. So that gave me a little bit better being able to clarify, learn, ask more clarifying questions as well. And they can teach this they can use reciprocal teaching in a couple different forms. The teacher can assign roles, the questioning, clarifying, predicting, summarizing to students. And they can be the teacher, or you can assign a teacher and then assign the roles, or they can rotate and all have the option of, participating in the key skills. And then there's collaborative learning, which we already talked about, which is really that pairing them up with portion of the ZDP, where you pair them up, and it's important to pair them with a different level, someone who might have a better understanding or grasp of the concept that can help bring that other person forward. So anyway, that is the zone of proximal development.